Hey guys, so the Hey Reader-athon starts tomorrow and I've got a bit of a crazy week going on, I think. So I am going to share the books that I'm going to be reading for the Readathon. I think I have it picked out now. When I was making my TBR a couple weeks ago, I wasn't sure where I would be at with my reading for the month, so I didn't exactly pick out all the books, and this still might change over the course of the week, but I think I've got it nailed down. So I have 4 books to fulfill the 4 prompts. At first I thought maybe I would try to do a book that would fulfill 2 of the prompts, like 1 book, 2 prompts. But I think I have it figured out in a way that I am going to be reading books that I want and still fulfilling prompts. And then in addition, I have an audiobook that I don't think really fulfills any of the prompts, but I'm in the middle of it and we're just going to keep going with that this week. I just need to grab my phone to make sure I have the prompts accurate here. Okay, so the first prompt is an epistolary novel, and I am going to be trying Dracula for this. I hear that this, I think it's all letters or diary entries or something. So my particular edition has it's like 460 pages. So I think what I'm going to do is we have 7 days. I'm going to divide 460. Why don't we do this right now? Find my calculator. 400 and let's just do 70 divided by 7 days is 67.1. I'm going to try to read approximately 68 pages a day. I can read more, but I feel like this is a classic. It is a bit daunting to me. I just put up a video, well, it's going up tomorrow, about classics and how classics for beginners. They're easy to get overwhelmed, and then when you have only 1 week to read them. So 68 pages feels doable. So I'm going to try to do that every day and slowly work my way through this over the course of the week. So I have that one for that prompt, and then short stories. Oh yeah, this is the one I put up for to fulfill this prompt on Hey Reader as well. This is Shirley Jackson, The Lottery and Other Stories. So I think there might be a couple of different copies of this that might be in have different collections of short stories, like with the same title. I could be wrong about that. Maybe not. Anyway, I want to read a few of these. I read The Lottery and a couple other ones last fall. I know for sure that I want to read, where is it? After You, My Dear Alphonse. I don't remember what that's about at all, but that was a short story we had to read in like grade 11 or 12. So I want to reread that one. I don't know if I know of any other ones, but I'm going to read some of them anyway. I'm going to read a couple of these short stories. I seriously can't hold a book without doing something weird, smacking myself with it in some way. The next one is a classic. So this is a classic. I mean, I don't even know when Dracula was written. A long time ago. Definitely a classic. Definitely over 100 years ago. Definitely not 2018 when this edition came out, but... And then I feel like Shirley Jackson, her stuff is classics as well. 1948. I'd be curious to know, like, what is your definition of a classic? To me, if the author is dead, it kind of feels like it's a classic. Because we read some of these short stories in high school, that makes it feel like a classic to me. But I'm not using either of those for my classic. I'm going to be doing Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers. Lots of people have told me that I need to read Dorothy L. Sayers, and I have gotten, I think, one of her books from the library before. Once again, what is the copyright date? She died 1957, so maybe this 1923. So technically not 100 years ago, which is what I used for my definition in my classics list, my beginners classic for beginners video, but I'm still counting this. I don't know anything about this. For lovers of the golden age of detective fiction, there are few detectives more notable than Lord Peter Wimsey, the debonair and charming socialite whose witty chat, oh my goodness, and perfect manners can distract from the acute brain that leads him to resolve the most complex of cases. Wow. I'm amazed myself sometimes how bad I am at reading aloud. Yeah, so I really don't know anything about this. That's okay with me. It's a short one as well. less than 200 pages. I'm kind of going for some short ones because this week has a lot going on. I'll talk about that when I talk about my audiobook. And then the last one is Autumn Vibes. And I chose to go with The Hijacked Moon. The Case of the Hijacked Moon. This is a spin off of Sherlock, where he is a Christian detective. It's Geoffrey Weston, the grandnephew of Holmes. And he's hired by neo-Nazis to find a terrifying assassin. Once again, under 200 pages. So, kind of low expectations on this, but I am so incredibly curious. This might be one of the ones I start with. I don't know. They're all, like, I'm actually really excited about all of them. So those are the books that I am picking for those prompts. And then my audiobook for the week is going to be The Host. So I have this on audio from my library. I am not very far yet. I'm a little bit farther than what my bookmark currently is. This is chapter 23, page like 220 out of 620. So let's see here. I think I'm at about 40% in the audiobook. Yeah, exactly 40%. So I have listened to 9 hours and 14 minutes, and I have 13 hours and 46 minutes left. Once again, listening at double speed, so it should be about 7 hours. And then this week our foster kids are now doing visits again. If you follow my personal channel, that's kind of where I'm sharing this like complete roller coaster of a foster care journey. Yeah, they're doing visits. So that means I have to drive 1 to 2 hours a day to do visits, and that is when I will be mainly listening to the audiobook. I think it has to go back to the library maybe, I think it's less than a week from today. So I'll see if I can get it done. If not, I'll like actually finish reading it. So this is my plan for the week. Subject to change. If I decide to pick a different book for a different prompt, that's fine. We'll see where this goes. I just wanted to film this before it starts because it's going to start tomorrow. And I have to drive in the morning and run some errands and stuff. So I'm going to start listening to my audiobook. Maybe take a book along in case I need to sit around and wait. But I probably won't be able to film. So let's get this readathon started. Actually, no, let's not start it yet. I was just reading this little, I don't know what it is, very short summary on the front here. It says, a weaponless assassination, a missing island, a vanishing naval ship, and a stolen rocket. Only Detective Weston can uncover the diabolical plot. I feel like this is a lot jam-packed into a little book. So curious to see how this one is. Okay, let's do a little bit of a day one update. I'm sorry if my voice sounds funny. I think my friends' bronchitis and pneumonia are like knocking at the door. And so far my immune system's keeping them out, but my throat/voice are just a little bit off. Okay, so today I spent a bunch of time in the city, went to Costco. It was like, that's the worst place to go. Survived Costco. Did some driving. I listened to The Host. I am now this far in the middle of a chapter, actually a little farther than this, I think. I'm like chapter 40-ish, or almost at chapter 40. Yeah, so I'm really liking this. So this is my audiobook. I don't know, I've heard from people that it takes a while to get into the book, and I didn't find that, and I'm wondering if it's because I'm listening to the audiobook instead of reading the real book. So in general, what this is aliens have come and invaded human bodies, and we follow alien, they call them souls, that is in this woman's body, and the body is the host, hence the name. Yeah, and I don't really want to say too much because there's a lot to discover. It takes a while for things to get going, but I'm actually surprisingly enjoying this. Yeah, like, I don't know, sci-fi always surprises me when I enjoy sci-fi. So I think I have 7.5 hours left in the audiobook, which means I should get that done. I think I have 2 hours of driving each day for the next 2 days, so by Wednesday I should be done this. And then I went for a walk in between dropping the littles off at a visit and then picking them up. After Costco I had extra time, so I went for a walk and then I was listening to my book for a bit, and then I sat down and I started reading The Hijacked Moon. I am 66 pages in. This is not great. This was written in 81, I think the copyright is, and it's supposed to be like a Christian Sherlock Holmes, and it is so cheesy, so cheesy. Like, they're rummaging around in a like burnt out house that they need to look at for a case, and like talking about hell and how it's gonna be fiery and having these like awkward theological discussions while rummaging through someone's burnt out house. I don't know. And then like they say goodbye to the cabbie that brought them there and give him the money and a tract, and it just feels like very 1980s Christianity, where I don't know, they just seem very confrontational and not very loving. I'm definitely gonna stick this out though because it's so short, and this is my pick for autumn vibes. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. So far I've come across the weaponless assassination and the missing island. Still no vanishing naval ship or stolen rocket yet, so we will continue on with that. And then this afternoon I read a little bit of the lottery short stories. Not the lottery. I read After You, My Dear Alphonse, which was a flashback from high school, and I totally forgot about the topic of that one, and I can't tell you it because it's like 4 or 5 pages, but really, really good. I liked it. It's about stereotypes, maybe we'll just say that. And then I read The Intoxicated and Like Mother Used to Make. Those two. Those ones I read last year, so those were actually rereads for me, but I didn't remember them until I was like part way through. Yeah, so I think I will probably read all the short stories in here, just judging from how quick they are to read and stuff. Definitely going to reread The Lottery because that's, I don't know, I don't even know how to describe The Lottery. A powerful story, powerful, surprising story. Even though I've read it, it still feels surprising. So that's where I'm at so far. I'm feeling good about like almost being halfway done this and being so far into this, even though this isn't part of the actual readathon. I know how to hold a book. Yeah, so I don't really doubt whether or not I'll be able to get through all these. I'm more like, ooh, what other books am I gonna fill this week with? Maybe I'll try to figure out multiple books to fulfill the prompts that I have. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so I got a bit of a reading update. I finished this book. I don't even know what to say. It was pretty horrible. My daughter asked me why I don't just like quit it, and I said it's kind of like watching a train wreck. You can't stop. Wow, okay, so it was just like, it's supposed to be a Christian detective, and it was just so awkward. Like, this guy was talking to this lady who is kind of like pro, you know, keeping seals safe and not letting them be clubbed and all this. And then he's like, I quite agree that we have a responsibility to care for the earth that's been entrusted to us. Adam and Eve would be proud of you. It's like he's trying to work into the conversation that he's a Christian, but like in a really, oh my goodness, that fly must live in this room. Anyway, but like in a really awkward way. And ooh, yeah, that is going to be going on my unhaul pile. I actually went to a little free library today. One of my favorite ones, which is kind of like 50-50. Sometimes there's some stuff, sometimes there's not. I didn't get anything, but I got rid of a bunch of books because I have too many books right now for my own little free library. People aren't taking books fast enough. So after my monthly wrap up, this one's gonna go. And then I totally forgot, well, okay, here, what may have happened last night is I may have fallen asleep on the couch at 8:30. It was kind of intentional because I was really tired. I like didn't sleep hardly at all the 2 nights before. So I was like, okay, I'll just try to sleep for like 10-15 minutes and then I will probably have enough energy to like go longer in my day. And then it turns out I slept for an hour and a half, and then I was awake for half an hour or so reading this, and then I slept some more. So yeah, I pretty much just slept all evening, but I haven't really read any of this. So much for my like 68 pages I'm supposed to read. So I think I'm gonna work on that this evening, or I'm tempted to work on starting this book because this might be more fun. Maybe I just save this for the end and go hard on this. Kind of leaning towards that. And then the other book to talk about is The Host, which I'm just realizing in this light, I don't know if you can see it, the eye actually has like a ring around it, which is the alien eye. Okay, so yeah, I was finishing this while I was making supper because I wanted to see where this went, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know lots of people said it had like, I don't know, they said it picked up around chapter 30 or so, and honestly I'm trying to see where chapter 30 brings you because I enjoyed so much of this. I enjoyed the entire ride. I had no idea really where this was going to be going. So this, I'm stepping on kids' toys. It's like an aliens invade the human species, but there's a few humans kind of like fighting back. And then our main character is an alien in a host body, but the girl whose body it is still there, yelling at her kind of thing. And the kids are running around. They end up being friends, kind of. And it's, yeah, there's so much I can't say because it takes a while maybe for things to happen, but I enjoyed watching this unfold like you wouldn't believe. So, yeah. I have The Chemist by Stephanie Meyer. Honestly, I don't think I'm ever going to read Twilight. That's not really my element. But this is supposed to be, they're coming for her, she's ready for them. I thought this was a, okay, what does this say? She used to work for the US government, an expert in her field. She was one of the darkest secrets of an agency so clandestine it doesn't even have a name. Then, without warning, they came for her. She's been running ever since. Yeah, so I'm not really sure what this is, but after reading this, I'm very curious to read this. So that might have to get bumped up on my to-read list. Yeah, shaky. Yeah, so that's where I'm at now. I think tonight I will probably read this. I also have another classic that I started on the weekend or whatever that I might read this week too. We'll see. Right now, I have finished 2 books, but 1 for the Readathon. And I think I'll do this one next because it's so quick as well, or so short. It should be a quick turnaround and then make me feel very accomplished in the Readathon. So I think this is my plan for the evening. so this is day 3 of the Readathon. I'm gonna apologize if it's kind of loud. I have my little fireplace on. I also have my tea here. I'm really cold this morning. It's been like unusually warm here. It was, I think, like -5 degrees Celsius this morning, which is warmer than normal for this time of year, but I'm starting to feel the chill. Anyway, so this morning I've dropped off the little ones at a visit. This fly, like seriously, I never notice it in here until I start filming. Yeah, it's gotta go. Anyway, so I dropped them off. I need to go pick them up. Oh man, I need to leave in half an hour already. Oh, this is a lot of driving. Okay, so I'm 2 hours and 8 minutes into Dracula, which apparently is 64 pages, or on page 64. So I'm going to listen on my way to go get them and bring them home, and then I should be where I should have been at the end of the day yesterday. And then, but if I do that, if I can read like 120 pages a day, and there's how many pages? 460. Then I should be able to get this done. What day is today? Oh, I won't get it done before the weekend. But I'll get a good chunk done by the weekend, and then maybe I'll just like read the end of the book. I did start trying to read the beginning part yesterday, and I was really struggling to get into it. And so I thought, since I have to drive anyway, a good time to start listening to an audiobook, because like it's always the hardest to get into a book. So I thought I would listen on my drive because I'm stuck there anyway. It's better listening to something that's kind of maybe a little bit more boring than I can have that time to get into it. I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought. Anyway, so I am slowly getting into this. I have no idea what's going to happen through the rest of the book. I don't really know a ton about Dracula. I mean, we have all these ideas of what vampires are and stuff, and I'm assuming it's mostly based off of this. So our main character is currently writing in a journal in shorthand. He started at the beginning of May, and it goes, I think he's currently middle of June. He knows that his death is imminent at this point. He's suspicious about Dracula. I don't know if he knows what Count Dracula is at this point or what, and I don't know what's going to conspire through the rest of the book. I think he's supposed to die this night, maybe, that I'm on. I'm not sure. Yeah, so far he's not really keeping my attention, but I can listen to it on drives, and maybe by the end I'll be more into it. Last night, I don't know, I realized yesterday evening that I was feeling fairly depressed. All this foster care stuff just like wears on a person so much, and it wears on the kids and like all the kids and everyone in the family. And so anyway, I was reading Whose Body last night and didn't get very far. On page 42, just mentally feeling down. It was hard to read, but yeah, so this one we are following a guy named Peter Whimsy. He is the son of a duke and duchess. I don't know if the duke is still alive, but a duchess. And so he's not a detective himself, but he is like a wannabe. So his acquaintance maybe comes across this body in his bathtub one morning, and so they're trying to figure out what's going on. Yeah, so this was written in 1923. So I just am doing all the classics, it feels like, this month. This is my first Dorothy L. Sayers book. I don't have a whole lot to say right now. It's one of the ones like it hasn't really drawn me in, but I also haven't read a ton. It's a fairly short book though. So we'll see what's going to happen with that. And then a book that I started end of September, a couple of days before September ended, is We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. I think this is due to go back to the library right away. And I actually can't remember where I am. I threw a bookmark in here, but I think I'm a little farther. And I'm really enjoying this. I was reading it right the Sunday before the readathon started. Now I lost my bookmark. And I'm like really getting into this. I really want to pick this up, but I feel like I need to cross at least one more book off of my readathon list before I can finish this. So the first chapter, I have to say, I was very confused. It wasn't until I read the little synopsis that I kind of got some backstory, and then chapter 2 I thought was hilarious. So this is, we follow our main character. Her name is Mary Catherine, and she goes by Mary Cat, I guess is what her family calls her. Yeah, so she's our narrator, and you can tell like they're obviously the village outcasts, this family, but then you find out that her sister was accused of poisoning like the parents and the aunt, and I don't remember who else, a bunch of people. And she was acquitted, but everyone in the town is still suspicious, and so Mary Catherine and Constance and their uncle Julian just like pretty much live as hermits, and I don't know what else is going to happen, but it's interesting. They're like chapter 2, this neighbor comes over and has like all these awkward questions about the poisoning and stuff, and it was kind of funny and kind of painful, but yeah. So I really enjoy Shirley Jackson's writing, so we'll go with that. I didn't read any more of Shirley Jackson's short stories yesterday, I don't think. No. It was mostly just Whose Body and then finishing those other books that I was reading. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Now I need to film a book haul, but I need to change my shirt because I realized like I'm totally okay with wearing the shirt as much as it's clean this fall, but I probably don't want to wear it in like every single video. So I'll wear it like pretty much all week in my vlog, and then I'll change shirts for other videos because this is the most comfortable, and I do wash it, I do, but I don't want it to look like I'm wearing it every single day. Okay, I got like stacks of books here because I realized I need to, I mean I just filmed my TBR shelf video, but I realized I need to just go and like pull all of my TBR books minus my series ones and like put them all on my shelf, because I am like determined to get my TBR down, like my physical TBR. My son was counting the other day how many books are on my shelf and my cart and my Agatha Christie, and that didn't even include these ones that were upstairs, and they were like 100 and some, pretty close to like how many books I've been reading a year, like around 150. So that means if I didn't use my library or buy any new books, it would take me an entire year just to read the books that I own. Yeah, so that's not cool. So I'm gonna organize this and put that up there, and then I might just go and maybe I'll do like a try-a chapter sometime in the like the nearish future. Nearish, I can't talk, I don't know, my brain is like really slow these days. It's, yeah. Actually I was thinking I have these books that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them that I got from like the Christian book mystery box a while ago. I got it because Shalise from And Read Another Chapter got it, and then Becca from Hicks Picks Books got it, and I wanted to get in on the fun, and these are 7 of them that like I don't see myself picking up on my own. Like I just kind of need to be forced to. So that might be a reading vlog coming soon, is like a try a chapter, because that will take me like a long time to try a little bit, share my thoughts, and then move on. So anyway, that's just why this is chaos, because I'm working on all that to the actual books that I've been reading. I forgot to mention yesterday that I started the ebook for Help, I'm Drowning, I think that's the title. The new Sally Clarkson book. I got it on NetGalley actually. Yeah, so that came out I think last month, and I was wanting to read it, and then I didn't apply for it on NetGalley because I'm so bad at reading ebooks. But then with all this like fostering driving, that just taking up like 2 hours of my day just driving alone, I definitely feel like I'm in the Help, I'm Drowning phase of life again. So I started that yesterday and I'm so enjoying it. It's made me rethink. So like my plan is to do NaNoWriMo next month, but this has kind of made me rethink my entire plan, and maybe instead of writing a fiction book, which was my original thought, I'm kind of leaning towards nonfiction. But I think I will probably do a NaNoWriMo vlog on my personal channel, like 1 or 2 of them throughout November. I'm not 100% sure. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to that, because I really don't know where this is going. But yeah, anyway, onto the books that I'm reading. Whose Body, guys, I'm like page 58. How many days have I been reading this now? I don't know. Mental space, I guess, isn't really there. So far this hasn't really gripped me, but it's not like terrible either, so yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say on that one. And then Dracula, I've been listening to this. I gotta see where I ended up. So I drove the little ones to their visit today. Still have to go back and pick them up, so I've got another hour. I'm 33% in. I'm chapter 10, like a third of the way through chapter 10. So there is like the main guy, whose name, Jonathan Harker, his journal entry, and then his fiance's journal entries. And then there's tons of letters between people. Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at. I know the idea of Dracula, but I'm really confused as to where the actual book is going. I think I'm here. So page 152. So I should get a decent chunk listened to on my drive yet today. So hopefully I should be able to finish this in time. Yeah, so that's not much of an update. I haven't read any more short stories. So this evening I'm thinking I got the North and South movie. I think it's like a BBC show. And because I really enjoyed the book when I read it the last couple of weeks. So I might actually watch some of that this evening. I'm not sure. I'm not good with like period dramas. Like it might be too cringy for me, but I might try it. So either I will read some of this, or I will try to watch that, or maybe I'll do a little bit of both. I ended up not filming anything yesterday. Thursday ended up being crazy. The afternoon I was cleaning up upstairs, and then all of a sudden one of my kids ran upstairs and said, water is leaking from upstairs to downstairs, and we had like our kitchen tap was wrecked, and so I had to turn off the water there, and Jared was in a meeting, like at home, but in a meeting, so he couldn't do stuff. So we're like trying to like soak up all the water and figure that out, and then he ended up changing out the kitchen tap, which is actually kind of nice because I didn't really like the one we had, but it's not fun to go through that. And then I ended up last minute, going and getting tested for COVID on Thursday, just because I've been having this cough. I had it at the beginning of the month, stayed home, stayed away from people for like 2 weeks, which is easy to do when you homeschool and the kids weren't having visits, but then it was just like progressing, and I was like, okay, I don't think it's COVID, but I need to get tested, because if I'm gonna be coughing in public, like, people are gonna wonder. So yes, I got my results back and they were negative, so there's that. And yeah, so I decided to relax and read yesterday instead of filming a little update. So I did finish Whose Body. I ended up enjoying this one. I think I'll probably give it about a 3.5 star. I'm curious to read more of Dorothy L. Sayers' books because I think she uses her Lord Peter whimsy in other books. This confirmed to me that I do like amateur detectives, like just regular people solving crimes. I prefer that to actual detectives or yeah, I don't like suspense with lawyers. So yeah, I liked that. It's surprising how long it took me to read such a tiny little book. This one had 2 different mysteries that kind of converged together, and I knew they were going to, but I couldn't figure out how. So yeah, the ending was surprising. It was surprising. This one felt more like a classic to me than some of the other ones that I've read, which is interesting because this was only written in 1923, so it's not really that old. But I struggled, maybe because it's just a time period I don't read a lot from, so it took me a while to get into like the customs and stuff of the time. Yeah, but so I enjoyed that. And then I read more of Shirley Jackson's short stories in here. I didn't finish it. I was tempted to, I could have, but I kind of like just like slowly reading these stories. I read a few last year at this time, read a few now. I really want to buy this book, and then I will probably finish the short stories. They're not all as jarring or surprising as The Lottery is, but it's amazing. Like one of the ones I read yesterday was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages long. And it was just interesting. She writes, they're not necessarily all gothic horror, like is kind of generally known as her genre, but they kind of all analyze people and their idiosyncrasies and different things. Yeah, like the one involves like stereotypes and racism a bit, and yeah, so I find Shirley Jackson's writing very fascinating. So now the only book I have left for the Hey Reader-athon is Dracula. I have stopped listening to the audiobook now. I am reading it, and I am 276 pages done out of 450 some. So yeah, today and tomorrow I need to finish this. The rest of my day today, I can read a bit this afternoon. I'm actually first going to film my November TBR, which should be live right before this video. And then this evening we have supper at my in-laws, so I don't have a ton of time for reading today, but I don't think I have anything else after church tomorrow, so I should be able to get this done tomorrow and then do like one final wrap-up of my thoughts. I don't really want to say anything about it yet because I really don't know what I think about this book, and so I think I have to save my like thoughts for after. So this will be my next like 30-ish hours. This is what I'll be reading, and then I will let you know my final thoughts. I don't know what my bangs are doing here today, but whatever. It is the last day of the readathon, and I just finished Dracula. So I got all 4 of my books completed. What do I say about Dracula? There was a lot more to it than I was expecting. I didn't dislike it. I just barely finished this like 2 minutes ago, so I have to think about this. It was more padded than it needed to be. I felt like there was a lot of stuff that could be taken out. There's a lot more to the story, but there's also a lot that felt like unnecessary. Like it's mostly diary entries from a variety of different people, and it's like, this day, still no movement. This day, still no movement. And it's like, do we have to say that every day? But yeah, so not normally my kind of book, but it's a classic that I wanted to read. I'm glad I did. I don't think I will find myself like rereading this ever. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah, surprisingly I don't have much thoughts on Dracula. So I started out reading the Case of the Hijacked Moon. That was terrible. I read some Shirley Jackson short stories, still love those, need to buy that book so I can read them all and just like enjoy rereading them. what was my other book? Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers. I think I'll enjoy that series. It took me a little bit to get into, but I enjoyed it overall. And then book 4 was Dracula. So that was a pretty decent reading week. And then I also finished The Host, and I started reading The Help I'm Drowning by Sally Clarkson. And I didn't read any more of the other Shirley Jackson one that I'm reading, We Have Always Lived in the Castle. I might read that now that this is officially over. Yeah, so this is probably going to end up being a super long vlog, so I should end it here. Thank you to everyone that joined in on the second annual Autumn Hey Reader-athon, though. I always have fun putting it on, and today is like perfectly gloomy and just like the perfect ending for this, so I am probably going to find another book to curl up with that isn't a readathon book now.